Here are 9 things I wish I knew before hiring a personal trainer. After spending thousands of dollars on coaching and coaching hundreds of people myself personally over the past 8 years, if I knew these things sooner, I would have wasted a lot less money and gotten way more out of all my coaching relationships. Let's just dive right into this. Number 1, it could change your life. Just to give you an idea of what this kind of looks like, imagine knowing everything you know right now about personal finance, but you can go inject it into your brain at 16, 17 years old. Where would you be right now? It would be pretty crazy, right? And the idea here is that small little changes, because of what you know, have a outsized impact when they're applied over an extended period of time. So making these small trajectory adjustments today, because of what coach tells you, could have you in a dramatically different position 10, 15, 20 years from today. So what does that mean? Well, health markers could be in a much different place. Body composition could be in a much different place. Retirement and how much you're able to do with your grandchildren, way, way different, right? Because of something you learned today. And ultimately, I think that's because when you get a coach, what they're really helping you do is put the blinders on a little bit. So you can learn what matters and what doesn't, so that more of every minute you spend working away on your nutrition targets, on your workouts, all those minutes are more spent on things that matter and less time is spent on things that don't. So you just get more out of every minute you're spending if you do it right and you choose a coach that can actually help you. If you're interested in losing body fat and that's your big struggle, go check out my free 21-day fat loss program linked in the description box. I'll help you for free. You can lose a bunch of fat. Now let's talk about how to choose a great coach. Choose wisely. Lesson number 2. You need to understand that most coaches come with their own flavor, and some people just will not be right for you. I know that for a lot of people, I am not the right fit for them. A lot of coaches have not only their own unique personality and views, like if you see them on Instagram or YouTube and they're talking about like alpha male, the lion wakes up early, the wolf while the sheep are sleeping, some fucking, I don't know, whatever. Like maybe that's your vibe. That's not me. And I'm not that for a lot of people, right? And for other people, they may be more into the spiritual, movement is medicine type thing. Again, not really me. I have more a kind of an OBS approach with, hey, this is what I want you to do. Here's how we're going to get where we want to go, and a little bit more practical and pragmatic stuff. But for some people, their style preference may be very different. You may communicate with a coach in a very different way. Maybe you like someone who's a little bit gentler or someone who's just more direct. And that's important too. So I think it's wise to get a sense of who you're about to be working with before you end up jumping into it, because your ability to relate and communicate with a coach and their style is a huge part of this. There has to be some kind of trust involved. Otherwise, if you don't believe in what you're doing in the plan, I think I saw Landon Basement Bodybuilding talking about this forever ago. You got to have some kind of belief. You got to believe in the plan. Otherwise, you're just never going to be able to follow it. So I put some actionable advice in here. Find someone, number 1, with a proven track record. Has this person either accomplished what it is you want to achieve, or even better, accomplished what you want to achieve and helped a bunch of other people accomplish that thing you want to achieve? And do you vibe with that person? And are you clear on their systems and how you might work together before you start? Some good questions to ask are, number 1, is nutrition coaching involved? And if so, what does that look like? Am I getting a meal plan? Am I getting calorie and protein targets? Am I getting macros? Is there no nutrition stuff involved? What about the training? How does our communication work? Do we have direct communication access? Do we email back and forth? Are we having video chats? Is it asynchronous? All these things are really good things to keep in mind before you enter a coaching relationship. Not only the person, but how they work. On top of that, you'll probably want to look at the budget, figure out, is this within your price range, especially for the goals that you have. Are you going to need coaching for a year, 2 years, 5 years? How does that going to kind of fit in with things? So that's how I'd look at coaches. Number 3, it is on you. Whew, boy, this is a tough pill to swallow for some folks. Coaches can lay everything out for you. They can give you a plan for the nutrition, for the training, your steps, your sleep, stress management. They can lay it all out step by step by step. And they can give you every tool you need. But at the end of the day, getting results is still your responsibility. You are bringing the coach on as a navigator to help you guide your ship. But at the end of the day, you are the captain of that ship, and all the cargo on board belongs to you. So you can't just bring the navigator on board and he'll be like, I think we should probably go over this way. And then you don't go that way and the boat crashes into some rocks. Whose fault is that really, right? So there has to be an agreement with both ends upheld, where the coach has laid things out clearly, honestly, communicated that effectively. And then on your side, as the client, we need to uphold that and do our best on that front. I'm not saying you have to be able to follow the plan with 100% adherence, but you need to at least be willing to execute and give a good effort. And then you need to be able to feedback towards your coach and communicate and say, hey, here's how things went. Here's what went really well. Here's how it struggled. I struggled. Here's what's going on with me, because that is ultimately where the magic happens. Coaching isn't just, I write you a PDF of workouts and foods that you should eat in which amounts, and then sayonara, good luck. It's, we build out a plan together collaboratively and say, all right, this is kind of what we have in mind for where we want to go with stuff. And then you go start working that plan, and based on how it works for you, how your body responds, how you're feeling, now we can adjust the plan and make it even better as time goes on. So everything's built in mud and it's dynamic. It's not just built, in concrete, set in stone. So communicate and ask questions if you're not sure. Bring your coach on board with you. When you do hire a coach, make sure they are aware of what's going on with you. If you have a vacation coming up in 6 weeks and coach is like, cool, we're doing this fat loss diet, I'm thinking, 8-10 week push. Okay, cool. You should probably let them know about that vacation that's coming up in 6 weeks instead of it being the week before and you say, hey, by the way, I'm going to Tampa. I'm going to, no, come on, man. Bring that person on board. It's like having that navigator on the ship, except blindfolding them for some reason. I don't know why you would do that, but yeah, people just, they have a hard time with communicating and being open. So the more you can give your coach, the better. They'll be able to adjust your program better. The more you share your preferences, limitations, things that you want to work towards, the more customized that experience will be, right? And lastly, and I think importantly here, just keep in mind, do not ghost your coach. Do not leave them in the dark. Even if you intend to just break things off with your coach because of whatever reason, tell them. Don't just let them be out in the dark and, if things aren't working, let them know. They may actually have a solution to some of the things that you're going through, and your inability to come to them with a problem because either you don't trust them or you feel bad about your lack of results is ultimately holding you back from getting you where you want to go. So sometimes just a conversation is really important there. But at the end of the day, we can never ultimately blame our coaches. I can't say, oh my God, so-and-so laid this program out for me and it didn't really work the way I wanted it to, blah, blah, blah. At the end of the day, it's you. It's on you. The responsibility is yours, especially when I'm talking about, hey, the plan was laid out for you and you didn't follow it type of thing. I think there is something to be said for being led in the wrong direction, but we have to at least be willing to put in some effort on the front end, right? Lesson number 4, it will be uncomfortable at times. A good coach helps to hold up a mirror to you and show you your own behaviors and results and how they relate to your goals. So they'll say, hey, look, you told me you want to get in shape, you want to get healthy, you want to lose this weight. I'm seeing that you've done one workout of the 3 we had scheduled for you last week. Can you help me understand what's going on there? Give me a bit of insight into what's going on. And at this point, there are 2 kind of roads that you can go with a coach. You can either get defensive and feel bad and say, oh, I had this going on and this and this and this and this. Okay, cool, that's fine. We can always work through that in the future or whatever. Or you can say, you know what? Yeah, fuck, you're right. I am seeing honestly and with some just very accountable and transparent communication, hey, I got one of my 3 workouts in last week. That's not ideal. And for whatever reason is going on in my life, it ended up being that way. How can I work through this? Okay, cool. Hey coach, yeah, I was actually really busy last week. I got off work late, blah, 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 this, that, and the other thing happened. I want to make sure I can do better this week. What would you recommend? Oh my goodness. Can you see the difference in how those people responded and how that might add up over the course of 6 months or a year or 5 years of coaching? One person is coachable, open, receptive to feedback. One person is always on the defensive. One person is growing and getting better. The other one is just continuing to put that wall up. So coaching is uncomfortable. When you see your data all laid out and you're not losing weight, oh my God, that's frustrating and annoying, right? But it's a critical part of the coaching process because that honest collection of data keeps you accountable and it keeps it real. That is what helps us make better decisions, both with trusting our coach on the back end once we've made an adjustment and needing to make that adjustment in the first place. So a coach will not only show you patterns and actions that make you uncomfortable about yourself at times, they will also force you to think bigger, slow down, push harder, or keep going, when often those are the things you don't want to do, but they are the exact thing you need to do in order to get where you want to go. Sometimes we need to slow down a fat loss diet. Sometimes we need to keep going on a fat loss diet, take a little breather. Sometimes we need to push a bit harder in our workouts. And those often are things we want to hear because we're most comfortable in our lane. But what's the point of hiring a coach in the first place if you're not going to take their feedback and adjustments on board? My piece of actionable feedback here, practical: be coachable and grow, or go on the defensive and stay the same. You have this coach in your corner for a reason. And I think the fact that you would be willing to hire a coach in the first place shows me that you're the type of person who can look outside yourself and bring feedback on board and admit that you don't know everything. And you are willing to, take some of that, let's call it criticism, even though it is constructive. You're willing to take some of that on board in order to get the results you want and go further than you could go on your own. Just make sure you bring that attitude into your actual coaching as well. Whether you hire me or hire someone else, at the end of the day, this is such a critical part of the whole coaching relationship. Now, lesson 5, you don't know what you don't know. When you have that experience where, let's say you're not losing weight, you're not building the muscle you want, you're not getting whatever you want out of this, there is a moment where you can go and communicate with your coach and say, hey, I'm not losing the weight I want to lose. I'm not really sure I'm seeing the results I want. Perfect. Having that moment where you're able to actually parlay with someone and give them a piece of feedback, and then that feedback go through a system that's already seen this process a bunch of times, been through it themselves, been through it with hundreds of other people, and fire it back to you with the most, customized or tailored response that meets you where you're at, that can give you the best direction based on your circumstances. That feedback loop is just so valuable. And when you are outside of having a coach, you've never experienced that before, it's really hard to see just how much of an impact it has when you're doing this stuff alone. You have questions come up, you try and find a video, you're kind of like filtering through it, like listening, and you're like, oh, they talked about it for a second, but that doesn't really apply to my situation. What about this, that, and the other thing? You're leaving comments, looking on forums, talking to ChatGPT or Googling things, and it never really hits the same as having someone who knows full context of everything you're working towards, all your limitations, your preferences, and everything you've been doing for the last 6, 8, 16 weeks. So they can give you a very specific answer for what it is you're looking to do. And the crazy thing is, this acceleration of progress and thinking for yourself can just have such a massive impact long term because, like, for example, with Jay, she hired some coaching this year. She got some coaching, and man, her progress has just been through the roof. She's been building more muscle. She's looking leaner. It's absolutely nuts. We have a bunch of my family members and friends are like, hey, can you coach me? Can you help me with this weight loss thing? Like, you look amazing. It's crazy. And she herself is even considering doing some physique competition stuff in 2027, which is something she would have never considered doing had she not seen that potential for results, right? So that's what I mean when I say this stuff really does add up, just like that personal finance being 17-year-old example. Number 6, you have to be realistic. You have to remember that you have a life. Even though you're hiring a coach and you're starting to take this stuff a little bit more seriously than just a throwaway hobby, you need to get your health in check, you need to build some muscle, and you want to take this more seriously, well, guess what? There's still going to be less than ideal times for you in your life to make this fitness thing happen. I am so passionate about this stuff. Look, my whole life, I'm filming in my living room right now with this freaking light and this camera. I love this stuff. I live and breathe training and nutrition stuff. I'm so into it. When I'm not filming here, I'm talking to other people about fitness and nutrition stuff. When I'm at the gym, I'm talking to people about it. And still, for me, there are times in my life where things come up and it makes it less than ideal, less than easy for me to get this stuff done. Because as a human being, your whole life is not going to bend so that you can go do some bicep curls or eat a healthy meal. And just recognizing that right off the bat, that you're going to have some speed bumps and roadblocks along the way, that's really critical, because that allows you to at least be open to the idea that you are not going to have 100% adherence. It's just not going to happen no matter how magical you think you are as a person. Feeling low motivation, low energy, hungry, all those things is a part of this game. It is a feature and not a bug. But what you can do about this is be transparent about it. Go to your coach. I mean, look, literally ask any personal trainer, any nutrition coach you know. You don't just have to ask me about this or take my word for it. What they want is for you to be transparent with them. They want you to lean on them when you're going through that stuff. That is precisely the time where you lean on the coach more, not the time where you retreat, when you are going through tough stuff and things are less than ideal, you have family stuff, stress, whatever, less time, that's the time where you got to be talking to coach saying, hey, can we modify the training plan? Can we maybe end the diet a week early? I'm really in over my head at work right now. That is when it's most effective and most important that you keep showing up and communicating. And I will say this, as my practical takeaway for you here, being coachable, being the type of person who can communicate with the coach, not just shut down, being the person who can come to a coach with their problems, share that in an open and trustworthy way, and be open to, doing something instead of nothing. That coachable person is way more likely to succeed in the long term than the person who is preoccupied with being impressive and showing the coach, hey, look how perfect I am, look how amazing I did this, I did that, I did the other thing. Who cares? Ultimately, I would way rather have the flexible person who at least brings their stuff to me instead of the person who's either nailing everything 99.9% of the time, and then that 1% of the time where things go wrong, 0.1%, 0.01%, you got this, Mateo. That person who throws everything away when shit hits the fan, that person, good luck. Lesson number 7, implementation over information. So there's a funny meme I saw the other day. This coach is talking to his client. He's like, hey, how have things been going on the diet this week? And client says, oh, my weight didn't move this week, so I think we need to update the program. And coach is like, well, how did it go with the calories we set last week? Oh, they weren't really working for me, so I was just kind of like eyeballing and doing my own thing. He's like, what? Well, I gave you the plan to follow, and it's not working, but you didn't follow it, so why would we update or adjust it? And I think that, if you didn't even do the thing in the first place, man, there's just no need for an adjustment. But that's why I say implementation over information. A lot of the check-ins that I do with my coach and a lot of the check-ins that I do with the folks I work with, majority of it is just, hey, is this right? Am I doing this right? Are we on the right track? Do we need to change anything? And a lot of it is just, actually, yeah, things are going really, really well. Please stop trying to break things. Please don't do anything differently. What you're doing is working exceedingly well. That's what coaching really is all about. It's just helping you consistently execute on things, not always coming up with new ideas and giving you more and more and more information. And you might ask your coach for information about certain things. Hey, what do you think about this supplement? Or what do you think about that supplement? And what you're really looking for when you ask those questions, the real benefit is not just having a regurgitated ChatGPT summary of what fish oil does. It's, hey, do you think this would be a good idea for me? Or how does this fit in with my bigger goals and framework and all that stuff? So that's where the implementation comes in. A lot of the information you need is already out there on, Google and ChatGPT and all that stuff. And a coach can help you definitely connect those dots and just make things more clear. So that's, I think, the big difference. And sometimes it seems that it's maybe a little underwhelming. You receive a plan from a coach. I know I've had this in the past where I got a workout plan or a nutrition plan, and I'm like, this is a little simple, like just these exercises, or you really just want me to do that? I feel like I could do more. And there's a reason for that. It's because you don't need more information. You don't need to learn more. You just need to implement on the things that matter right now. And that's what the coach is really there for, is just to put the blinders on you. And you need to understand that really daily action toward all the things that your coach has laid out for you is going to drive your results. Even if it's not a perfect plan, as long as you're doing it consistently and open to receiving feedback and adjusting the plan, you're going to get where you want to go, right? This stuff is not magical, but it does work. Lesson number 8, progress feels boring before it looks exciting. Now, it's not going to feel like fireworks every week when you have a coach, a personal trainer. A lot of people are like, okay, what are we up to this week, coach? And, they've seen movies with this fitness program and transformations where it's like this 3-minute cutscene where the hero is, doing all these crazy workouts and whatever. And I watched Mask of Zorro a little while back, and he's like doing push-ups over the candle, which doesn't make any sense, because if he's doing push-ups over the candle, wouldn't the goal be to stay as high as possible? Or are they like training his belly to be more endurant against heat, which is like a very niche and unreasonable feat and trait to develop in a sword fighter? Anyway, those 3-minute exciting cutscenes in real life, the fitness transformation cutscene, man, that could be 6 months. That could be a year, right? And a lot of it is just you showing up doing the same, similar, at least, workouts, similar foods, doing the same stuff over and over again that pushes you in the right direction. And just repeating that basic stuff is honestly, I think, what will put you ahead of 99% of people who, are trying to get in shape, or even people who hire coaches. being okay with that boring consistency of just showing up, routinely doing your stuff, getting your meals, taking your workouts, and just being like, yep, everything's good. I'm on track. I'm doing my stuff. That, and having the expectation that that's a reality, it's just a superpower, man. Most people can't do this stuff because they're not cool with that. It's too much, right? Same thing with personal finance. People are like, oh, I want to see the million in the bank account, whatever. Okay, cool. Show me the automated investment setup. Show me the automatic transfer or whatever. If we're not doing that, like, come on, you can't just expect to arrive at the finish line. And yeah, I would say, not to mention, way more chill, way more zen, way more enjoyable of a process when you just accept that what needs to be done, and you just relax into the process, and you're like, you know what, this is my plan, I'm gonna do it, I'm gonna follow along, and you stop trying to tweak it every week and make it your own and make it unique and all this other stuff. You just follow along, chill, and then you can make adjustments at the appropriate time, whether that's a 3-month thing, a 6-month thing, an annual thing, where things actually need to be adjusted. You shouldn't be going in and messing around with it all the time. And, I saw Alberto Nunez, pro bodybuilder, talking about this the other day in preparation for his show. I asked him, hey, man, like, what do you think is, something that a lot of, physique focused people and competitors should keep in mind? And he said, it was kind of a cool moment. He's just like, this is on his Instagram story. He goes, yeah, like, a lot of these people, they don't realize just how much of a superpower it is to be able to say, this is my clear plan to get where I want to go with this stuff. And I'm going to apply myself daily on these actionable things. I'm going to check in at this interval, seeing how things are going based on these metrics, adjust these certain things if it's not working, and keep on going for an extended period of time and working toward it daily. He's like, that's scary, man. If you can do that with this physique stuff, bro, what can you not do? Like, that really does make you a dangerous person in this world, just being able to continue doing those things, right? And I think the more you can integrate that into your psyche of that's what this whole fitness thing is about, the better. Okay, lesson 9. You are not the exception. You want to think that you're different. It's, I think, human nature to feel like, oh, I have it tougher. My genetics aren't great. My metabolism's broken, whatever else. But at the end of the day, the same basic principles apply to you. All the fundamental stuff that helps people lose body fat, that helps people build muscle, all that stuff is going to work for you too. It's going to work exceedingly well. But if you're constantly fighting back against it and thinking, oh, well, I need this diet, or I need this type of training program, or I've tried this stuff before and this didn't really work out, I think I need to do more of this or less of that. Yeah, okay, I think there is a place for individual, tweaking and bringing a little bit more customization into things. But that's like icing on the cake stuff, man. I'm telling you, 99% of all the things you're going to accomplish come from doing 99% of all the things that 99% of people do that has worked for them for however long, right? We don't need to necessarily do anything special in order to get you there. So I put here, just give in to the fact that you are playing the same game as everyone else. Everyone else has a hard time losing weight. Everyone else gets hungry. Everyone else gets low energy, low motivation. Everyone else is drained after work. And it's the folks who find a way to do this stuff anyways that succeed the best, right? Even, I put here, and this is maybe going to sound a little harsh to some people, even if you are at a disadvantage. Let's say you were missing a limb, straight up. You're missing a leg, you're missing an arm. Let's say you have PCOS, maybe hypothyroidism, something that causes you to feel 10% hungrier than everyone else and burn 10% less calories than everyone else. What are your options? Honestly, at that point, what are you going to do? There are only 2 things you could do. Number 1, Abe Simpson, old man shakes fist at sky. Like, you can be like, this situation's terrible for me and it's never going to work for me no matter what I do. Okay, cool. If you want to die on that hill, go die on that hill. That's all your right to do so. Totally up to you. Or you can accept the terms that, hey, working hard is part of this fitness game. I'm going to have to push my sets really hard. I'm going to have to get sore. I'm going to have to be low energy at sometimes. Maybe I'm going to have to be a little bit hungry. I'm going to have to go to work and then I'm going to have to go to the gym. At times I don't necessarily want to go to the gym, and maybe it's going to cost me a bit of, extra change to have a coach who holds me accountable each week to stick on track with this stuff. But that's just what it's going to take, and those are the terms. If this is important to me, I'm going to make it happen. So you are not the exception. Just accept that you're playing a game that everyone else is playing and start winning. That's ultimately it, right? Anyway, thank you so much for watching this video. As always, I really appreciate you being here. And if you want a step-by-step guide to losing fat while building muscle at the very same time, go watch this video next, where I outline a 45-minute exact guide with everything you need to know on the nutrition and training side of things and how to coach yourself to your best ever physique.